Lopez, and today we'll be making one of 5 mother sauces, tomato sauce. For the tomato sauce, you simply need 3 ingredients. Those ingredients are crushed or regular tomato sauce, onion, either brown, white, or even red onion, and garlic. You cannot forget salt, black pepper if you have it, and oil. Let's begin. Okay, so we will begin with our garlic. But before cutting the garlic, we're actually going to turn on our heat on our pot. You're going to turn it down to a low setting. While the pot is heating up, we're going to add roughly about 2 tablespoons of oil. Now, I'm eyeballing, but you guys can measure it up. Let that go for a second, and while this is heating up, we're going to cut our garlic. Here, I'm going to cut 4 cloves of garlic, and I'm simply going to mince them and then add them to the pot. So, with your knife, chop the garlic. And all we're doing here is mincing. I like my tomato sauce to be a little more garlic forward, so that's why I'm adding just a little bit more garlic than needed. 3 cloves is perfectly fine, but again, to me, garlic adds a nice addition to the sauce. Now we want to make sure that we are gathering the garlic and rocking our knife back and forth just to make sure we get an even mince on that garlic. Ready. Now, if you have a bench scraper at home, use a bench scraper to pick up all your garlic. If not, you can use the knife, but I highly suggest that you're careful when using your knife so that you don't cut yourself. Being that I have a bench scraper, I'm going to use the bench scraper to pick up that garlic and add it to our pot. Now, since the pot is still at a low heat, at this point, I am now going to raise up the heat just a little bit to get the garlic cooking. So raise the heat a little bit more, and with a spatula, disperse the garlic. Now, while the garlic cooks, what we're going to do next is we are actually going to cut our onion. I've already halved my onion. You just need half of an onion for this recipe. Now, to cut the onion, we're actually going to do small dice. And for those of you who remember, small dice is a 1/4 inch thick, cubed. So, start by cutting the onion horizontally and then going vertically. Now, this might take a lot of practice, but over time you'll eventually get to that point where you'll be able to cut nice and smoothly. So now we go ahead and cut our onion into 1/4 inch cubes. Now at this point, it might be a little tricky to get everything, but we're just simply going to push down that onion, cut from the top, and then turn it around and just try to get as much of that onion as possible so that we have 0 waste. Now, if you look at our garlic is starting to cook. We want to swirl that garlic a little bit and take a second to smell the aroma of the garlic. Wait about 20 more seconds before you add your onion, and then you'll smell the changes in the garlic and the onion. Again, using my bench scraper, I'm going to pick up my onion and add it into the garlic. We're going to swirl in that onion. Move our pot a little bit. And what we're looking now is for the onion to become translucent. When I mean translucent, I mean that I want to see the onion become a little bit more lighter, almost invisible like. Now, a traditional tomato sauce is only 3 ingredients: tomato, onion, and garlic. But that does not mean that you can only use those 3 ingredients. In my tomato sauce, I'm going to add oregano. Oregano will give it a nice, earthy, and fragrant taste. Here I have 1 tablespoon of oregano. All I'm simply going to do is put it in my hand, go over the onions, place my other hand on top, and simply crush it in. Once I've crushed it in, I'm going to take my spoon, stir in the oregano with the onions and garlic, and allow that to cook for an additional 2 to 3 minutes. Other ingredients that you can add besides oregano are red chili flakes. One of my personal favorites, though, is balsamic vinegar. When we add balsamic vinegar, you just want to add enough balsamic vinegar to coat the bottom of the pot. The balsamic vinegar will add a sweetness and slight touch of acidity to your sauce. Now, for this tomato sauce, I'm using crushed tomatoes. But again, I mentioned that you can use tomato sauce. It all depends your preference at the end of the day. If you are using crushed tomatoes, you might eventually need to puree it either by using a blender or a food mill. If you use tomato sauce, the sauce will come out a little bit smoother. But again, it's all to your preference. And in my case, I'm going to use crushed tomatoes. But before I'm adding the crushed tomatoes, I'm simply going to smell the fragrance, the aromas that the onions, the garlic, and the oregano are emitting. Once I see that my onions are translucent, that the oregano has been cooking for at least 2 minutes, and then I will add my tomato sauce. Tomato product, sorry. You want to make sure that you get as much as possible from that tomato sauce, correct? For that, I will use a spatula and get all the tomato that is left in the can. Next, I will incorporate the tomato, the onion, the garlic, and the oregano to distribute evenly all the goodness within the pot. Once you've added the tomato sauce, you'll see that the tomato sauce will start to bubble. The best way to control that bubbling from the tomato sauce is to simply lower your heat and once in a while give it a stir. And now we'll cook our tomato sauce for 35 to 45 minutes to let all those flavors blend in well. That is tomato sauce.